Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, almost Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. Recently, we have created a ton of content about food, including, heavy metals in spices, pesticides, fertility, nutrition, and much more. That's because food is really, really important to us. And not only it does provide us nutrients, it also brings family culture together. And however, many foods that we love can cause certain health issues, and if we eat in too much of it. Thankfully, there can be a good balance between enjoying comfort food and good health. That's why today we're really excited to be joined by Chef Laura Rodriguez. Chef Laura is a holistic chef and a backyard farmer who specializes in autoimmunity. As a foodie and also a chef wannabe, I'm just really, really excited to chat with her about this topic. So I'm gonna see. Oh,
Yay!
here you are.
How are you?
Good. Finally, it worked.
Yay! I think I was trying to request while you were sending me a request and it wasn't working. Sorry about that.
No, no, no. It's all good. I'm just like so happy because I was doing the intro and I'm like, wow, as a foodie and also a chef wannabe, I just love talking to real chefs.
Yay!
Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about your background and then how you became a chef.
Yeah. Well, I actually started as a dishwasher in a cooking school. I had learned how to cook when I lived in Italy, and I aspired to be in the food industry in some way. And I didn't know which way, so I started any way that I could. And after doing that for a number of years, I kind of moved up the ranks, became the kitchen manager and then the general manager. And then I went on to work in a restaurant. And then I did that for a few years, and then I started my own catering company. So it's kind of been a journey.
That's a lot of experience.
Yeah.
So what does holistic chef mean to you?
To me, it means not just making food that tastes good. It means making food that nourishes my clients' bodies, nourishes my body, food that I can eat and live well.
I know you also had a lot of personal experience who can contribute to your cooking and your philosophies and everything. So tell us a little bit about, how this personal experience influenced like the food recommendations, meal plans, and everything that you do for your clients.
Yeah, it's all really based on my life's experience. So I initially took a job when I first moved here to Nashville. There was a nonprofit that serves healing organic meals to cancer patients. And I had had a lot of family members, pass away from cancer. So I was very passionate about working in the cancer community. But I didn't necessarily know anything about anti-inflammatory food. They were like, we have these parameters around what ingredients we can cook with, and so let's make it happen. And so that's what I did. It was my job to make delicious food without gluten, dairy, sugar, corn, soy, no processed ingredients, no ordinary conventional produce, and so that's what I did. But along the way, I was like really intrigued by why they didn't serve certain ingredients, and so I was actually handed this big box of books all about healing cancer naturally and how to tamper down inflammation through food. And I read all the books and I was like obsessed. I was hooked at that point. Because at the time I was suffering from really debilitating joint pain. I had eczema, I had chronic migraines. I didn't know that any of this stuff had anything to do with the food that I was eating at the time. So what I did was, after reading all those books, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to use the same exact food that I cook for my clients at work at home. And I was able to reverse all of those symptoms in 3 months.
Oh,
So
wow.
I have taken everything that I've done for myself and I have served it to my clients because at the end of the day, I'm the type of chef that tastes everything that I make as I'm cooking it to make sure that it comes out right. And so I just can't afford, like, physically
Right.
to taste food that makes me sick. So yeah,
That's a win-win. I love it.
yeah.
So you mentioned autoimmunity, like what's the connection between food and autoimmunity?
I'm not a doctor or a nurse or, a dietitian or anything, but what I can say from my experience, what I have found is that gluten, dairy, sugar, those are three food groups that cause a tremendous amount of inflammation in my body. And there is a lot of data and research that shows that those foods promote inflammation. And so what I've learned is that if I eat less of these inflammation promoting foods and eat more anti-inflammatory foods, I can manage my symptoms and live, a pain-free life. And so that's kind of the connection that I have found is that there are certain food groups that really promote inflammation in the body. And there are other things that happen to us, be it like the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, because I live like in a farm town where there's a lot of pesticides and stuff sprayed. And not only that, but just like stress and stuff causes inflammation. So there's a lot of outside forces that can contribute to inflammation. And so if you can control one way, by like lessening the inflammatory foods that you eat, I find that it really helps. So that's kind of what I've learned.
And you're also a organic backyard farmer, and you just mentioned that maybe some pesticides around you. Is that why you became you're growing your own food? And and also what does the role of the quality of the ingredient play in health, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's really important. All of that research that I studied when I first started my journey, really, there was a connection between, glyphosate, tearing holes in the gut lining and, causing other issues. So it was really important for me to not only try to increase my intake of organic ingredients, but grow my food organically too. So we do have a couple crops that we spray with organic pesticides. It's called BT, and that's mostly our cruciferous vegetables. Being in the South, bugs love to eat cabbage and kale, so we do spray those. But other than that, we really try to work on making sure that our soil is really nutrient dense so the plants are strong and can fight off pests and stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. For you mentioned glyphosate. For anyone who's interested in learning more about glyphosate, we actually had a live with Mom Across America a few days back, as well as Glyphosate Girl Kelly. Lots of great information to learn about glyphosate and why you really need to avoid that, which is like really, really crazy.
I know, it's crazy. And they say like the studies where it's found in like umbilical cords of babies and stuff. It's just like, to me, it's everywhere. And so whatever you can do to lessen your exposure to it, I think is going to really help you live a long, healthy, vibrant life.
Absolutely. So what are some like the worst inflammatory foods?
I would say for me personally and for my clients, gluten and sugar. Dairy is kind of, some people can tolerate it and some people can't. My cat is standing there at the door meowing at me the whole time.
You want to grab him?
Yeah, you got me grab him real quick.
Totally understand the fellow cat lovers. We need to get the kitties.
I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it was like in my brain. Okay, so gluten, dairy, sugar, those are the three big ones for me. Corn also really causes knee inflammation. And then for some folks, well, for most folks, I would say any type of processed package, highly processed ingredient, fast foods, sugary drinks, things like that, they just cause inflammation really quickly in the body, especially if you have a joint pain related condition like I do, like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis. You can feel it pretty quickly. And so those would be the ones that I would say.
That makes sense. So what about the opposite, the best anti-inflammatory foods?
Okay, so like in season organic, colorful vegetables and fruits, that's my number one recommendation because you're going to get all of those antioxidants from the vitamins and minerals and polyphenols that are inherent in those vegetables and fruits. And I love to suggest people increase their intake of like omega-3. So from walnuts, wild-caught salmon, flaxseed, those are really powerful anti-inflammatories. Also, I would say pastured organic meats and eggs. They're full of omega-3s, vitamin A, vitamin D, all things that help tamper down inflammation. Let's see what else. Vegetables, organic meats, wild seafood, nuts and seeds, beans and legumes, gluten-free grains. Those are all things that I include in my meals.
Love it, love it. It's also echoing. We also, like I also mentioned in the intro, that we had a lot of topic about food, and then even just 2 days ago we had a live talk about acne, and then how pretty much all the food you just mentioned, and they could also, if you have acne issues, they could also impact acne. So I guess the body system just like really works.
Yes,
Together.
it's all interconnected, and people always say your skin looks so great. My answer is always I eat a healthy diet, and it shows through my skin. My skin wasn't always great. I used to have like those bumps that you get on the back of your arms and legs. I used to have eczema. You can tell if I've indulged in sweets because I'll get acne. The skin will tell you what's going on the inside, what the body needs for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't lie.
No.
So some people like have trouble getting rid of their comfort food, So what makes a comfort food comforting to you? Like what's your comfort food?
Yeah, to me, a plate of home cooked hot food, especially if it's ethnic or spicy, those are things that bring comfort to me. I've lived in Italy and South Korea. I've traveled all around the world, so I find a lot of comfort in ethnic food, spicy food, and hot food. Like a cold plate of food is something that I eat because I don't want to cook. If I want comfort, I want to eat soup, tons of vegetables. I find vegetables very comforting, probably because we grow our own. I don't know, but and maybe because I didn't grow up eating a lot of vegetables. Those are comfort foods to me, for sure. Some people, it's going to be different for everybody. Some people find a lot of comfort in pasta, like cheesy dishes or casseroles and things that are baked like that. I find comfort in colorful vegetables, spicy food, ethnic food.
I can echo. I love soup. Soup is like my comfort food. The warmth, even on a hot summer day, I can totally do soup.
Me too. I make soup at least once a day, probably, multiple times a week for sure. And it's one of my favorite things to eat for breakfast because it's like you don't have to cook it. You just heat up whatever's left over from the night before.
Right, right. So some people also find like sugar to be their comfort food, anything sugary. So what are some ways that people can like swap out sugar, especially, sugar is totally like inflammatory?
Yeah. Some of the things that I did in the beginning, because I used to have, I would say, a sugar addiction when I first started my healing journey. I did have to work very hard to reverse candida overgrowth that I had. It took about 3 months. But along the process, what I would do is really kind of lean into whenever I had a craving by indulging in something that was naturally sweet. So, for example, I would eat gluten-free bread with coconut oil or vegan butter with honey drizzled on top. I would eat plain yogurt that was sweetened with, honey or fruit. I would eat dates stuffed with a little bit of peanut butter or, cheese or whatever. And so that's kind of my recommendation. I always keep a stevia sweetened dark chocolate chip in the freezer. I love to eat a handful of those with some pecans or some walnuts if I have a sweet tooth. Because to me, in my experience, sugar addiction is a biological thing. It's not a moral thing. And when you're still biologically dependent on sugar that you've eaten for your whole life, like growing up eating cereal every day, donuts for breakfast, chocolate milk, you just become addicted to it biologically. And so it's best, in my opinion, to actually give your body what it needs, but from a natural source instead of, just saying, well, I'm just going to eat the donut because I want the donut. Just have a piece of good quality, whole grain, gluten-free toast with some honey on it.
Oh, I love that tip. And I also want to mention, like, there are actually like studies showing our taste buds actually changes like every 3 weeks. So if you stop eating the junk food, or your previous craving might actually be weaned off if you stop eating it, and then you'll come back with that, okay, maybe it's not that as delicious as I thought.
I love that. I didn't know that. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting too, because after you like start to indulge in you find different indulgences, healthier indulgences or less inflammatory indulgences. You go back and indulge in whatever it was that you grew up eating, and you're like, wow, that is so sweet. I can't believe I used to eat that all the time or drink that or whatever. Yeah. That's so cool. I didn't know that about the 3 weeks. I'm gonna have to use that.
Yeah. So besides sugar, we also mentioned dairy because dairy is another one that people having problem getting rid of. So what are some flare-free dairy swaps?
Number one, there are so many good vegan butters on the market. Miyoko's, Kite Hill are two of my favorite vegan butters that don't have like hydrogenated oils in them, because you can get, essentially vegan margarine, which isn't going to do you any good. So good quality vegan butter, a good quality vegan, unsweetened milk. So if it's almond milk or coconut milk or hemp seed milk, macadamia nut milk, I like to recommend that folks kind of switch it up so that you don't develop a sensitivity to anything. But for cooking especially, like if you're going to make a vegetable chowder, vegan vegetable chowder, I recommend like an almond milk or an oat milk because those two have the most neutral flavor and you can really get away with using them in savory cooking without anybody noticing. There's also plenty of really good vegan cheeses on the market that you can use. Soy-free vegan is what I recommend. Plenty of them melt very well. I just did a video earlier about this new one that I'm going to try. You just kind of have to experiment with some things. Some things melt well on top, like in the oven. Some things need to be sandwiched. BioLife has an amazing feta cheese that you can eat raw, like on a charcuterie or on a salad. It tastes just like real feta. It has like an olive brine to it to make it taste like feta.
Wow.
And it's amazing. And then BioLife and Kite Hill both have great cream cheeses as well. So, get yourself some good quality cheeses that you can really indulge in so you don't feel like you're missing out. And then let's see, yogurt. There's also really great vegan yogurt you can get. Plain unsweetened is my recommendation. I prefer Forager cashew. And there's another brand that I'm blanking on right now, but Cocoa June is my favorite. Cocoa June, it's very thick Greek-like coconut milk yogurt, and it comes in a paper container, so it's completely compostable. I can't say enough good things about them. You can make tzatziki, you can make like green goddess dressing, like anything savory you can make with that vegan yogurt. So yeah, get your hands on some good quality dairy-free products and go to town with them. Don't ever feel like you can't have it, because that's what makes us, go back to regular dairy, because we're like, oh, I can't have it. And then you end up kind of derailing your progress. Really enjoy indulging.
That's very good to know. What about some additional like a key flare-free swaps that we should all have in hand in case, we want some?
Okay, so like if you want to make fried fish or fried chicken, or you want to make chicken piccata or popcorn shrimp, you have to have brown rice flour. It works 1-for-1 for AP flour. I always have that on hand. I always keep a box of King Arthur 1-to-1 gluten-free flour in case I need to bake something. I'm not a big sweets person. I hate baking, but if I have to do it, I keep that on hand because it works beautifully. You can take any recipe off the internet and substitute that flour for AP regular, wheat flour, and mark my words, it will work, okay? Let's see. I always keep nutritional yeast and almond meal on hand, because that's a really great substitute for breadcrumbs and things like meatballs, or if you're making like chicken parmesan, because like you can get a gluten-free breadcrumb, but it's mostly made from tapioca starch or white potato, so it's not necessarily a healthy ingredient. So I like to substitute with equal parts almond meal and nutritional yeast. And then I always keep equal parts ground flax meal, chia seeds, and hemp seeds, and I put that on top of all of my food as a garnish to really increase my intake of omega-3s, fiber, protein, vitamins, minerals.
Oh my God, I'm gonna like stock up my kitchen with these things. I never thought about mixing like a nutritional yeast with almond meal. Wow, that's That's a
Yeah,
really, really
because
great tip.
oatmeal is quite, what's the word I'm looking for? It's fine. It doesn't have as much body, but it can become a breadcrumb if you fortify it with something that's a little bit drier and has a little bit more body to it. And nutritional yeast does the trick for that.
That is so awesome because almond milk also have not just the good nutrients and oil. It's a complex carb. It has way more fiber than say tapioca flours and stuff. So
Right.
yeah, because we also just talk about like a food that could potentially spike up people's blood sugar because managing blood sugar is also, like anti-inflammatory. So this is
Yeah.
like super, it's such a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah, I think people don't realize how lucky they are when they cook my recipes. I'm going to say it now. Y'all are so lucky because I have battled insulin resistance in the past. And so not only are my recipes anti-inflammatory, they're also like blood sugar stable or safe. And so people are really fortunate. And so I think, yeah, it's an important thing that like we don't talk about enough when we think of comfort food, because when we think of comfort food, we think of empty carbs, cheese, whatever, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Okay, do you have your own cookbook? We need everyone to buy your cookbook.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Not yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay, good, good. So tell us about the Flare-Free Cooking Academy because that's on your website, and then we want to encourage
Yes,
everyone to
Fertility
join.
Cooking Academy is a great way to get your hands on my seasonal recipes because every month I send out a new monthly meal plan that's seasonal, full of comfort recipes that my, members like kind of tell me they want. So every month I'll go, okay, what do you guys want on the meal plan next month? And so this month it's all grilling and casseroles. So super quick grilling recipes and like meals that you can pop in the oven and walk away from and eat on for days. And it just kind of rotates every month as a different theme. And in addition to the meal plan, you have access to the Facebook support group where we have, yes, Beth says, yes, please publish a cookbook. I know, I'm
Right.
working on it. The Flare-Free Cooking Academy members also have access to a Facebook support group where I just like all of the information that we talked about today, I pump out into the group, but from reputable functional medical professionals that are, specialize in this. Because as I said, I'm not a doctor. I can't really tell you. I can just tell you the research that I found and share that. So there's research there. There's all sorts of bonus recipes, cooking instruction. I do live cooking videos in there. And so that's a really great resource and tool for my members. And depending on the membership, if you do the pro or the VIP level, you'll also get one-on-one consultations with me every month. So like, say your child has an allergy to almonds and I use almonds in everything, we can sit together and I'll write a custom recipe or a custom meal plan for you to help you work around that allergy. And then also a monthly cooking class, a live virtual monthly cooking class every month as well. So it's just a fun way to learn how to eat flare-free, be a part of a community of people that understand what you're going through and learn something new every month.
Could someone also just join the cooking class?
Yes, cooking classes are available for purchase like a la carte. If they just want to join the class, you can do that as well on my website under classes and events. Yeah, absolutely.
This is amazing. Okay, we're gonna be waiting for your cookbook. It needs to be out ASAP. When I'm seeing like people having books and stuff about, either glucose control or either like autoimmunity or just like cooking recipe. But
Yeah.
like you literally have combined all these three topics, which is so amazing. I can't wait.
I love it. Yeah, it's definitely something that I would be really excited to do. It's just right now with building the Flare Free Cooking Academy and still having catering clients and personal chefing and all this stuff, it's like I don't have the time to write a cookbook, but I promise you I'm working on it.
Okay, good. Please keep us.
At the very least, I'm going to be publishing like an ebook very soon, and that's something I can do very easily. And so that will be there as well.
Okay.
But one thing I didn't mention, there is a basic membership for the Flare Free Cooking Academy, which is just the meal plan. If you don't need the Facebook support group, if you know everything there is to know about eating flare free and you just want the recipes, that's just $27 a month and you can get that too. And it's not like the membership is not like you have to do it for a year or 3 months. It's as long as you need to be in the Flare Free Cooking Academy, you can be there. So
Love it. We'll make sure we have all the information, in
okay.
our LinkedIn bio promoting this Instagram live. So thank you so much. This
Yes,
is
thank you.
such good information, all the brands and all the tips. And now I need to go stuck in my kitchen.
Yes, you guys should go to my page, go through my reels because I share this kind of information all the time with specific brands and stuff. So follow me if you're not following me yet. And, just keep an eye out for, whatever comes up new or, go back and look through my reels because I'm always sharing information because I don't think that this information should be hidden. I don't think anybody needs to read 25 books written by doctors to understand how to, decrease your inflammation through food. And so that's kind of my personal mission is to share everything that I've learned over the last 7 years, so that we can just have a healthier community and we can all live long, healthy, vibrant lives, and have good skin.
Thank you so much. We're totally benefiting from your knowledge. We're gonna
Thank
be
you for
linking
having
and
me.
checking it out. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone, be sure to follow Doctor. I'm gonna call you Doctor. I feel like you're a food doctor now. Chef Laura Rodriguez at Chef Laura Rodriguez on Instagram. So we'll have all the information there. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.